Here's something Rockstar buried so deep in the GTA 6 lore that most players completely missed it while they were busy crashing speedboats into flamingos. Jason Duval isn't just some swamp-raised guy with good hair and poor life choices. He's the first GTA protagonist explicitly built around the idea of inherited trauma as a gameplay mechanic. His backstory isn't flavor text, it's a blueprint. So here's the question that should genuinely unsettle you. If Jason's entire personality, his aggression, his loyalty, his self-destruction was shaped by the environment he was born into, what does that make you, the kid who carries his name and his blood in the most dangerous fictional state in America? Buckle up. By the end of this, Vice City will never look like a playground again. It'll look exactly like what it is: your inheritance.
Everyone calls Jason a criminal. Okay, sure, technically accurate. But here's what nobody's asking. What turned him into one? Because the answer to that question doesn't just explain Jason, it explains you. And it starts way before Vice City ever enters the picture.
Let's establish something immediately. Calling Jason Duval a bad guy is technically convenient and also completely misses the point. Yes, he runs illegal operations. Yes, he makes choices that would make any licensed therapist weep openly into their notes. But Jason Duval is not a villain origin story. He's what happens when a system, economic, geographic, social, produces a human being with no exit ramp and extremely good survival instincts. Jason grew up in the Florida backwater, not the Instagram filter Florida, the other Florida, the one with trailer parks and the kind of poverty that doesn't look photogenic on a Vice City tourism brochure. The underground world he enters isn't a choice in the traditional sense. It's the local job market. It's the available path. It's what was there. So as his kid, here's what you inherit before you even make a single decision: a geography that already decided your options, a last name that already means something to the wrong people, and a father who is simultaneously the most capable and most compromised person you'll ever know. That's not a starting point. That's a handicap disguised as a legacy.
Jason gets all the attention. Big guy, dangerous energy, great jawline. But the real reason Jason's story survives long enough to become your story, that's Lucia. And if you've been sleeping on what she actually brings to this dynamic, you've been misreading the whole game.
If Jason is the muscle and the instinct, Lucia is the architecture. She's the reason the operation has a future instead of just a present tense. And as Jason's kid, you need to understand that the most significant person in Jason's life operates on a completely different frequency. Lucia brings something Jason genuinely lacks: strategic patience. She can read a room, read a person, read a situation 3 moves ahead, while Jason's still deciding whether to punch it or drive a car through it. Their dynamic works precisely because they fill each other's blind spots. She thinks, he acts. Together, they are functionally one extremely dangerous and surprisingly competent person. What this means for you is that your inheritance is genuinely split. From Jason, raw capability, loyalty that borders on reckless, the particular kind of courage that comes from having nothing left to protect. From Lucia, the ability to survive systems rather than just fight them. The question is which one you lean into and whether you can hold both at the same time without the tension tearing you apart.
Vice City looks incredible from the outside. Neon, yachts, eternal summer. But there's a version of this city that tourists never see, and the travel brochure definitely doesn't mention. That's the version you were born into, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Here's what the neon lights and yacht parties and radio stations try very hard to obscure. Vice City is a city built on the principle that someone always has to be on the bottom. The entire economic ecosystem runs on exploitation. The tourism, built on invisible low-wage labor. The real estate, built on displacement. The underground world your father operates in, built on the same brutal hierarchy as everything above it, just with less paperwork. When you're born as Jason Duval's kid, you're born into the city's underside looking up. You see how Vice City actually functions, not the postcard version, but the loading dock version, the one where deals get made in parking structures, and the people who make the city run never get to enjoy it. This is simultaneously a curse and a form of education that money literally cannot buy. You understand power in Vice City the way only someone without it can, from the outside, watching how it moves, learning its patterns, knowing exactly who holds it and what they had to do to get there. That knowledge is uncomfortable. It is also, in the right hands, extremely useful.
Here's the part nobody thinks about when they're busy being impressed by Jason's story. Every enemy he made still out there. Every bridge he burned still smoking. And the moment someone figures out you're his kid, you become the most convenient leverage in Vice City. Congratulations.
Let's not romanticize this. Jason Duval operates in a dangerous world, and that danger has consequences that don't stay neatly inside his storyline. As his kid, you exist in the blast radius. The people Jason has crossed, and in GTA 6 that list is conservatively extensive. Don't forget, the organizations he's clashed with, the deals gone sideways, the chaos left behind the narrative, all of that generates what you might call inherited enemies. People who have a problem with your father automatically have a problem with you, not because of anything you did, but because that's how leverage works in this ecosystem. You are, from the moment anyone figures out whose kid you are, a bargaining chip, a pressure point, a way to get to someone they can't otherwise reach. The dark humor here, and there is dark humor here because there has to be, is that your most dangerous inheritance isn't poverty or your father's lifestyle, it's relevance. You matter to the wrong people, and that is a genuinely terrible thing to be in Vice City.
People laugh at the swamp. They see mud, mosquitoes, and questionable life decisions. But the Everglades made Jason Duval who he is, and by extension, it made you. There's a reason people raised in places that try to kill them daily turn out different from everyone else. We're getting into that right now.
People underestimate the Everglades. That's their first mistake, and in GTA 6's version of southern Florida, it's often their last. The swamp, the humidity, the flat, sprawling geography of a place that feels like the edge of the world, this isn't just backdrop. For Jason, it's formative. It's where he learned patience from alligators and the particular quiet confidence of someone who's survived a place that actively tries to eliminate you. As his kid, this landscape is part of your origin in ways that city-born people will never quite understand. There's a specific toughness that comes from growing up somewhere the infrastructure forgot, where the roads flood and the power goes out, and you learn to solve problems with whatever's available, because nothing gets delivered out here on time. The irony is that the same environment that produces hardship also produces something genuinely rare. People who can navigate chaos with composure, people who don't panic when the plan falls apart, because the plan always fell apart. The Florida landscape is brutal and beautiful in equal measure, and so, probably, are you.
GTA 6 is a lot of things. Technically impressive, chaotic, funny, but underneath it all, it's a portrait of an economy that was never designed to include people like your father. And growing up as his kid means growing up with a front row seat to exactly how that system works and exactly who it was built for.
GTA 6's Vice City isn't just an action sandbox, it's a satirical portrait of late-stage American capitalism with the volume turned up to 11 and the safety labels removed. The wealth inequality is obscene and visible. The hustle culture is weaponized. The legitimate economy and the underground economy are functionally the same economy with different branding. Growing up as Jason Duval's kid means growing up in the gap between those two economies. You see the penthouses from the street, you watch the yachts from the docks, you understand, viscerally, that the distance between where you are and where those people are has very little to do with effort or merit, and almost everything to do with starting position. Your father chose the underground path, not because he was amoral, but because the above-ground path had a velvet rope and nobody gave him a wristband. GTA 6 never lets you pretend Vice City is a meritocracy. It shows you repeatedly that the system is preloaded, and then hands you skills for operating outside it. Liberating, yes, also a razor-sharp comment on how few real options were ever on the table.
Jason Duval will go to war for the people he loves. No questions asked, no exit strategy planned. It's his best quality and his most dangerous one. And every single person who wanted something from him figured that out eventually. You're about to inherit both sides of that equation.
One of Jason Duval's defining characteristics, the one that makes him work as a protagonist and also makes him perpetually dangerous to be around, is his loyalty. When Jason is on your side, he is genuinely, completely, sometimes catastrophically on your side. He will do things that a reasonable person would not do for people he has decided deserve it. That loyalty is his most admirable quality. It is also his most exploitable one. Throughout GTA 6, people leverage Jason's loyalty against him. They position themselves as worth protecting, and then use that to extract behavior that serves their interests over his. It's not that Jason is naive, he's not. It's that his value system prioritizes people over self-preservation, and in Vice City, that configuration gets exploited the moment someone identifies it. As his kid, you inherit both the loyalty and the lesson. The question isn't whether to be loyal, it's how to be loyal without becoming someone else's instrument. How to care for people fiercely with that care becoming a leash. Jason learns this the hard way. Watching him, you learn it a slightly less hard way. Slightly.
Jason is in the system, has been for a while. But here's the thing about being in the system. It doesn't stay neatly contained to one person. It spreads. And if you think being Jason Duval's kid means you're flying under the radar, this chapter is going to be an uncomfortable few minutes for you.
Here's a reality that hangs over every Jason Duval scene like bad weather. The state knows who he is. The FBI equivalent, the VCPD, whatever federal apparatus monitors organized activity in fictionalized Florida, Jason Duval is in their system, has been for a while, has a file, probably a thick one. This matters for you because official attention doesn't stop at the subject, it radiates outward. Associates, family, known contacts, all of it gets noted, filed, occasionally monitored. Is Jason's kid, you exist in a documented relationship to someone the authorities have already decided is a problem. That doesn't make you automatically a target, but it makes you automatically visible to systems that have no particular interest in your well-being. The dark comedy is that the very institutions theoretically designed to protect citizens are also the ones most likely to view you as a variable in an ongoing case file, rather than a person to be served. You're not a resident to be protected, you're a loose end to be watched. Welcome to the structural irony of being born to someone the system already wrote off before you existed. GTA 6 almost certainly has multiple endings.
GTA 6 almost
Rockstar has
certainly
built
doesn't
toward
have one
player-influenced
ending, which means
outcomes
Jason
across
Duval
multiple
doesn't
titles,
have one
and the
fate,
Jason and
which
Lucia
means the
dynamic
father
is
you
precisely
inherited
the kind of
depends
relationship
entirely on
that
choices
branches
were
based
never
on choices
yours to
made
make.
throughout the narrative.
Think about that for a
which
second.
means,
Actually,
uncomfortably,
think about it
that
for
the
this
version of
entire
Jason
chapter.
Duval, who is your father, depends entirely on which path the player took. Did you get the Jason who found a way out? The one who, through some combination of luck and ruthlessness and Lucia's planning, carved out something resembling a future outside Vice City's worst machinery? Or did you get the Jason who didn't make it, swallowed by exactly the forces he spent the entire game fighting? Your father is a variable. His survival, his transformation, his ultimate moral position, all dependent on decisions made in a medium that is, by design, unstable. The version of you that exists is downstream of which Jason survived. None of that was your choice. That's either the most freeing or the most terrifying sentence in this entire video, depending entirely on how you feel about the concept of determinism before breakfast.
Okay, we've been through it all. The danger, the loyalty, the system, the swamp, the file with your last name on it. So now comes the only question that actually matters. Knowing all of this, what do you do with it? Because Vice City doesn't wait for you to figure it out. It's already moving. The only question is whether you are too.
We've covered the geography, the danger, the economics, the loyalty problem, the law enforcement problem, and the philosophical instability of having a father whose story has multiple endings. So here's the real question. Given all of that, what do you actually do? Here's what Jason Duval's story, across all its versions, all its choices, consistently demonstrates. Surviving Vice City requires you to know what you actually want, separate from what the environment is trying to make you want. The city will offer you shortcuts that are actually longer routes to worse places. It will show you wealth and call it success. It will show you power and call it freedom. Jason, at his best, knows the difference. He wants stability, or escape, or to protect the people he loves, and he measures every decision against that real want rather than the ambient noise of Vice City's constant transaction. As Jason's kid, that's the inheritance worth keeping. Not the enemies, not the government file attached to your last name, not the contacts or the particular skill set your father accumulated through years of extremely poor professional decisions. The thing worth inheriting is the clarity. Know what you want. Vice City will spend every waking moment trying to confuse that signal with noise. Don't let it win.